Hello folks, my name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So the day after the election, I made a video about my predictions for a Trump presidency, and I'm sad to say that some of them seem to already be coming true. Right. First and foremost, the whole thing about Trump, not knowing how the government works and making a fool of himself is definitely coming true. He's already has gone back to Twitter, and so there's a large number of protests going around the country, which are in like day 7 by now, which is kind of awesome. And he already kind of tweeted out at him, and basically tweeted some sour grape shit at him, right, and made a fool of himself once again. And then it looks like somebody, one of his aides or something, took the phone away and then tweeted out something that was actually like presidential, and he hasn't done that since. And I think they're like kind of taking the phone and putting it in like the hotel safe and shit, not giving him the combination, right, to keep him from looking like a fucking moron. He does seem to be walking back some of the rhetoric that he's said during the primaries and during the election, so that's kind of good. Some of my predictions don't seem to be coming true there. For example, he's walking back repealing of Obamacare, right? Say he said something to the effect of, "We'll keep the good parts," right, instead of just repealing the entire thing. Repeal and replace is what they said they would do during the primaries and the campaign. And now he's saying he won't do that. Now he's saying, "Oh, we'll keep the good parts." It's like, yeah. Now he realizes that he has to actually do it. And someone probably told him the chaos that it would cause if he were to actually do it. He, according to the New York Times, doesn't want to actually live in the White House. He wants to spend the majority of his time at Trump Tower, which, sorry, no, you can't do that. The house comes with the job, right? And he wants to spend, either the majority of his time there or at least weekends at Trump Tower or at one of his golf courses. That's a fucking joke, because if he actually does do that, someone is going to have to go secure those places to make sure that he doesn't fucking get assassinated. So that's going to end up costing the taxpayers money, and it would just be much easier if he just stayed in the fucking White House, but whatever. He's also made a fool of himself again by hiring a guy named Steve Bannon to a made-up bullshit position, that of chief strategist and senior counselor. Right. And this is causing a big problem because Bannon, this guy Steve Bannon, is the head of Breitbart and a really, really disgusting anti-Semite. There's a story about during the campaign about how he directed his wife to pull his kids out of school because he didn't want his kids going to school with Jews. Okay, you can look that up. So that's pissing a lot of people off. So if you were afraid of of Trump trying to draining the swamp, right? These are the people that he's getting. There's been talk of appointing Sarah Palin to a cabinet position. All right. Newt Gingrich to a cabinet position, Reince Priebus, right, which is the head of the RNC. These fucking people are the swamp, okay? So any of you people out there who voted for Trump thinking that he was going to clean up Washington, think again, right? It's going to be worse than ever, okay? Something else, so he met with Obama 2 days after he was elected last week, and apparently, according to the New York Times, didn't know what the president actually did until he spoke with Obama. Now, I kind of find that hard to believe, all right? You would think that somebody would have told him, somebody from the RNC or whatever, from the GMP, somebody would have come to him and told him, filled him in on what the president's responsibilities were, the breadth and the scope of it. But apparently, no, nobody did that. And according to the article, the questions he asked Obama, and this is a quote, reflected the president-elect's coming to grips with the fact that his life is about to radically change. So he didn't even fucking know what the president does. It's mind-blowing how surreal real life has suddenly become. Like, real life is now like funnier than a fucking Onion article and more depressing. I mean, that's ridiculous. And if you look at the pictures of him coming out of that meeting, and I'm not the only person to say this, Trump, the look on his face is like he's in over his head. He had no idea. He is looking, going, my God, the next 4 years are going to suck. They're going to be a nightmare. Remember who Trump is, right? Donald Trump is a person that has basically gotten everything that he's ever wanted his entire life. And now he's going to have to, like work. I mean, anyway. Let's see. Some more shit that he's reneging on. He is walking back, breaking the Iran nuclear deal. He's made comments to the effect of we may renegotiate it instead of, just completely tearing it up and walking away. Right, and starting another war. So that, might be a good thing. All right, I'm happy to say that if he doesn't do the shit that I think he's going to do, if he actually does like good, if he doesn't follow through with the insane rhetoric that he's been saying, that's fine with me. That's great, But I don't know. We'll see. But one thing that he has said is that he's pledged to undo every single one of Obama's executive orders, right? Now, Obama had to rely a lot on executive orders because there was just complete gridlock in the Senate and the House for the last, 8 years. I mean, we went over this in my previous video, actually. The Republicans pretty much just filibustered everything and did their best to make him fail. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was kind of the mantra when he got elected. The whole idea was that we're going to make sure he's a first-term president, a one-term president, right? Compare that, by the way, with the way that the Democrats are acting now with Trump. The Democrats are saying, we hope he succeeds, right? Obama is saying, I hope that, give him a chance, shit like that. Give him a chance. He deserves the chance to lead. They didn't do that for Obama. So just compare that shit, all right? Anyway, it just shows the character of Democrats is, leaps and bounds above that of Republicans in office, right? Anyhow, but I think, a lot of them, right, getting back to Obama's executive orders, a lot of them will make the GOP wet their pants in, joy. For example, reversing executive orders to close Guantanamo Bay, which is not actually closed because you can't close it without funding, but whatever. Scrapping the Paris Climate Change Agreement, right? That's gonna, make them happy. Another executive order had to do with allowing, requiring schools to allow for transgender bathrooms. Yeah, that's one of the pet peeves, of the Republicans. They'll be happy to get rid of that. And also, some of them maybe not so much. For example, there's a law that bars federal funding to international groups that provide abortions. Right, that was an executive order. They'll probably leave that one alone. They'll definitely get rid of the fetal stem cell research thing. Right, that's you got to remember that. The Bush people blocked fetal stem cell research because Republicans are religious and shit. They're fucking morons. Obama undid that. Chances are, if this will probably be one that'll get back redone so that we'll just be even further behind our country in science. Also, another Obama executive order was stopping CIA torture. I'm sure, Trump has already said that he wants to torture, even if it doesn't work. That's what he said. Even if it doesn't work, he wants to do it anyway. Right? Because, he's a fucking fascist. So that's what's going to happen. And I just think, the shit's funny that, getting back to the thing before where, he didn't actually know what the president did. Okay. I just think that's kind of ridiculous. It's like, it's almost like the whole thing was just, a joke. It's almost like Trump was trolling. Like, a lot of people have theorized that he only ran for president in order to like increase his brand, that kind of thing. And there was a story a little while ago about how he thought he was just gonna like, maybe do pretty well in a few primaries, but then eventually drop out and become like a pundit and make money. And he didn't think he was gonna win. And now, like, it's gone on too far, right? And when you see like that picture, when you see that picture of him meeting with Obama and that look on his face of like, holy fucking shit, I'm gonna have to actually do this now. That says a lot of things. Because like I was saying before, Trump was born rich, with a silver spoon in his mouth. Okay, this is basically someone who's gotten everything that he's ever wanted ever in his entire life just by throwing money at it. Fuck, now he's the president, right? So what happens when somebody, when rich kids, right? I don't think I'm the only one to notice this either. Rich kids who get everything they've ever wanted do not grow up to be normal people. They grow up to be egomaniacs, right? Who think that their fucking feet don't stink and treat other people like garbage, right? And, narcissistic, personality disorder, right? And there are many articles out there basically theorizing that Trump suffers from this problem, narcissism, right? I'm not, you can look that up too. I'm not going to go into that detail, but now it's sort of like, so he got it. He wanted something, he threw a shitload of money at it, he got it, right? Now he's realizing that he can't back out. Now he's realizing that shit, I'm going to have to actually do some work for the first time in his life. And now he realizes that he's not going to be able to fail upwards either. See, that's another thing. Like all rich people have an uncanny ability to fail and yet still be praised for how smart they are and how awesome they are. For example, George W. Bush, repeatedly lost it, had businesses that repeatedly went bankrupt and, was still made the CEO of additional ones anyway. He had an oil company and a few others. Same thing with Trump, Trump has businesses that just, fail one after the other. But, everybody praises him for being this awesome businessman when in real life he's anything but. It's because he's rich. It's because he's rich, and rich people are allowed to fail and be given more responsibility. Unlike the rest of us who, if we fail, we get fired. Okay. And that's rich privilege right there. The people with the money are the ones that get to make the rules. And that's just, that's a fact of life. That's unfortunate. There is no real justice in the world when it comes to rich people. That's something else you got to keep in mind. So now, what I think is going to happen, I think basically Mike Pence is going to be the real president. Right. The same way that Dick Cheney was the real president during the Bush years, but more intense. Right. And you're gonna see that over the next 4 years, that the real person pulling the strings, the real person making the decisions is going to be Mike Pence. And if things continue the way that these indicators say they are, I think Trump is probably not going to seek re-election. All right. I'm going to say that right now. That's a new prediction that I'm adding to my Trump predictions is that Trump will not seek re-election. All right, he's going to come up with some bullshit excuse, probably, what I think it'll be something either the effect of I want to spend more time with my family or I have health reasons. It'll be one of those two, which most likely being the first one because I doubt that he'll ever admit to having health problems, right? And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I could be wrong, right? So far, I don't seem to be wrong, right? With the possible exception of the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, of course, it's only been 4 days, so let's come back in a year and see how well my predictions are doing. Adios, folks.